Hey guys, welcome to the Wedding Vendors Happy Hour with your hosts, Derek and Jade.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in and welcome to episode number 2 of the Wedding Vendors Happy Hour. Again, my name is Derek with DP Films Productions.
My name is Jade with Just As Promised Events. Today we have a very special guest here for our second episode. She's recently been interviewed by the New York Times and Brides Magazine about her experience with the coronavirus and its potential effects on the wedding industry.
That's right, the coronavirus is a very hot topic, and I'm sure we are all curious as to what we can expect when it comes to the wedding industry. We are honored to have JoAnn Gregoli with Elegant Occasions share her point of view.
She's a veteran wedding planner based in New York and has offices in LA and Rome. Over the years, she's been featured on Style Me Pretty, Brides Magazine, Martha Stewart Weddings, Cosmopolitan, Junebug Weddings, and much more.
This is going to be one exciting episode, guys. JoAnn is going to share some of her awesome tips and info on what to expect. So grab a drink, take a seat, and let's get to it. Hey, JoAnn, thanks for being a part of our show.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right. And it means a lot to Jade and I that you're able to, take some time out of your busy schedule to jump onto this little podcast with us. So again, thanks for doing that for us. So just to set things off, we always like to, give our listeners a little idea of who we're talking to. So can you give a little brief intro of who you are, what you do, where you're from, and how long you've been in the wedding industry?
Sure. I'm JoAnn Gregoli. I am an event planner producer in New York, and I've been in the industry for like 30 years. And more importantly, I am the single mother to 6 children, all the while we're running a business.
Nice. Dang,
Awesome.
that's super awesome. That again, congrats on your success on the long run, the wedding industry. That's amazing. So to start things off, the coronavirus has been steadily rising, a little panic around the world. And we've heard the effects it's been having on kind of like, businesses, especially small businesses. And, kind of like the stock markets, as we've been seeing, kind of been like dropping down. So I was kind of curious about the effects it may potentially have on the wedding industry, as I'm sure most wedding vendors are. There's so much coverage, there's not really a lot of coverage that I've kind of seen that's been related to the wedding industry, and that's when I decided to do some research, and then I came across your article in the New York Times featuring, your interview. So I started to read it, and it brought up some really good, interesting points that I'd love to share with our listeners.
Yeah, so one thing that stood out to me in the article is that you've experienced similar situations in the past. And you mentioned that you've been through like the swine flu in Mexico, you've gone through the avian flu, and that the coronavirus is uncharted waters. So I was curious, can you elaborate on your experience with those past outbreaks and if it affected your weddings at the time?
Well, in the past, the outbreaks were a little more contained to certain countries. It was more primarily taking place in Mexico. So it was anything, Mexico related. So what happened at the time back when it occurred was there was a mandatory do not fly to Mexico. So anybody that was getting married in Mexico, businesses were saying to their employees, you are not allowed. They're restricting travel to that country. So we had a wedding literally that was imminent. I'll never forget this as long as I live. I think we got word it was Wednesday where the travel restrictions were put in place. The wedding went from 150 people to 25 people in a nanosecond. Like the cancellations were just rapid fire. The poor couple were already there. They were already on the ground in Mexico with their parents, with their best man, minus the maid of honor who could not fly. And I remember at the time, I'm like, oh my God, we have to get down there because we have this wedding. But I had 6 children and I was told I couldn't fly. So at the time, it's funny. I sent my ex-husband. I'm like, okay, you're going to Mexico. Here's a mask. Here's Tamiflu. Here's sanitation. Good luck.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Good luck. So this wedding went from 100 and something people to 25 people. Did the wedding. He came home and I put him in quarantine in a hotel for 2 weeks.
I bet.
Because I was so fearful if we got it and there were 6 kids, we could have spread it to 6 different schools in our district. Right. So I just, cautiously was like, okay, listen, this is the deal. you're going to go into quarantine. These kids have to be, safe as a
Uh-huh.
mother. That's what you think of. So I've experienced it personally. On this level, the reason why it's so different, it is so broad, far reaching. So it's not just Italy, or it's not just, China or whatever. It's now, you're finding it in France and Spain, and you're finding
Yeah.
it in New York, New Jersey. So what's happening is this is becoming so much more global that where does it stop? Like, how many restrictions can we place on people? They've shut down a country. I
Yeah,
mean, that is unheard of,
it
to
is.
say, Italy, you're closed for business. What? And I have friends there. So I've been monitoring the situation. Ironically, about all this, I was supposed to be in Italy last week for a corporate event.
Yeah.
We pulled the plug on this event about 3 weeks ago because of concerns. Thank God that we didn't go ahead with that event. And number one, I would have been in quarantine.
Uh-huh.
And number two, who knows if I would have gotten sick. So it is really just an area that I've never experienced before.
That's crazy.
It is. It's nuts.
Yeah, that's super crazy. So, like, as you mentioned, the coronavirus is uncharted waters. I kind of just want to go back to that. Like, do you anticipate this will be any different, effect wise, than the past outbreaks?
Um, I'd say the reason why it's different than past outbreaks is we just don't know the length of it,
Uh huh.
because it's cropping up in clusters, right?
Uh huh.
So you may have an area that clears, but then another area gets hot spotted, right? So it's like with the wedding world, these poor brides, we know there are people now who had weddings in Italy that cannot go,
Uh huh.
right? They can't go. So now we have to move them here, but then where do you put them here that's safe?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
because, yeah, okay, yeah, right now California's safe, but what happens next week?
Uh huh.
So it's such an unknown that the only advice we can tell people is, if there's a fear, postpone it, if you can.
Uh huh.
Because we can't even answer those questions.
That's true.
So I know you kind of shared your experience a little bit already, but I want to know more. What have you experienced so far since the coronavirus attack? Not attack,
Well,
but
what I've
outbreak.
experienced so
Uh-huh.
far is I've had panic couples whose weddings are going to be destination.
Uh-huh.
So one company, one of my clients, the groom, his company has told him, you are not allowed to travel right now
Oh.
for the foreseeable future. Well, he's got to go to his wedding. He can't go to his wedding right now. We are
Whoa.
at a wait and see. Oh yeah, we're at a wait and see approach here. So, but there's so many different variables going on, because you have people that are imminently getting married and they can't. You have wedding gowns that are supposed to come in from China. They're
Yep.
not here.
Hmm.
You have people who are planning, say, to go, like you said, to Italy, and you can't. Your wedding is not going to take place. So now you have to move it here. Where do you move it to? So, and then you have people saying, don't gather in large crowds. Well, what do you do there?
Yeah. Exactly.
So in that case, then you have to kind of act like a cruise ship does. If you've ever been on a cruise ship that's been in quarantine, I have, ironically, not
Scary.
not for this virus, but for a norovirus.
Uh-huh.
It's scary. And when the red flag goes on that ship and they say you can't dock, I'm like, oh God. So, you know, what do? You don't touch, you don't hug, you don't do receiving lines, you don't allow people to handle salt shakers, anything that people can touch. That's what you have to get away. It's all about touching, and then touching your face.
Yeah, that's super crazy. Like as you mentioned, you can't touch or do like anything with couples. When you meet your couples now, do you kind of like do an air high five when you see them?
Well, you know what I told them to do? I said, avoid your receiving line and just do a welcome toast.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
right.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just do a welcome toast. Thank you for coming. It's great seeing you. We're so glad you're here. And then if they're doing buffets, I'm saying, listen, don't do a buffet.
Oh, that's a good.
Because you don't want to touch the stuff,
Yeah.
right? You have
Uh-huh.
3, 4, or 5 people. So you want to keep it as the least amount of stuff people can touch, the better off you are.
That's
So
true.
like cocktail hour, eliminate that. You know what I mean?
Dang.
So
Yeah, there's
yeah,
so
it's
much to
kind of,
dance around.
That's kind of
with
scary to think about.
weddings.
Just buffets, stop it because everyone's touching it, everyone's around it. There's no like sneeze guards over the buffet
no.
table.
And then, well, the
Get
thing is
everyone
this: what
masks.
we're trying to do too is we're trying to put sanitizing stations at all weddings,
There you go.
That's
right?
smart. Yeah,
So, but now you have a stores of hand sanitizers.
that's true.
So what do you do there? So it's a catch 22, because you just are trying to be proactive and be smart, but then you're having a hard time being smart and proactive because we're at we're an inability to access items that we so desperately need.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's
Uh-huh.
kind of nuts. And
It
now
is
they're saying
nuts.
in New York, I just said this yesterday, they don't want you to travel in the subways. I'm like, okay, well, how do you get around New York City?
Dang, that's
You know, it's 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 the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
that's insane. Yeah, I can imagine everyone in the subway is just kind of like stuck in there. One like
Oh, I would
one sneeze and like everyone's just gone.
a panic
Locked in.
attack. Yeah, a panic attack. A panic attack. I just heard there was a huge fight on an airplane. They had to divert a flight for United because somebody sneezed, and people went crazy
Oh my
that
god,
the flight had to be diverted. So people are literally panicked.
that's
They are
insane.
panicked. Isn't that crazy?
That's super
Yeah,
crazy. That's kind of That's scary.
It
it
really
is.
is.
That's what I mean. It's uncharted. It's something I've never seen before. I've been doing this a long, long time, and it's kind of scary.
And so, do you feel like since yeah, if people seem like they're panicking a little too far, do you feel like it's a little more than the flu when it was back in the past?
Well, you know what it is? You have a media frenzy going on.
Mm,
So my daughter, who's a doctor, kind of puts life into perspective a little bit. She's like, Mom, it's the flu, but it's the flu, maybe magnified by 10, which is still a bad flu. I mean, you could still, like the flu, you can die.
yep.
You can die from anything. If you look at things in life in perspective, you can. What's happened, the media has created a frenzy where they're reporting every single death. Now, the flu, they don't do that. If they did that for the flu, the same thing would happen,
Yeah, I could
right?
imagine.
Every day, oh, another person died, another 10 people died, the same, but they don't do that. But here, we're getting hourly updates on deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who would not be afraid if someone said, you know, that death was going to occur, right?
Uh-huh.
That's the problem. So that's the problem.
Yeah, I definitely agree that I feel like the media kind of is just striking up the death card and making everyone kind of panic about that. Yeah, and I agree with you by saying that the flu, because the flu does kill a lot of people. And if they did mention that, then people would probably get their flu shots. you know?
Exactly, exactly. So, that's the thing. It's a combination of a worldwide event with the news coverage being almost incessant. It hasn't stopped, right? If you think about it, it has been. I mean, I'm getting alerts on my friggin' phone. I mean, it's crazy.
For real.
Yeah, so just circling back to the article real quick, you mentioned that 200-person conference that you kind of referred to earlier today in Milan that dropped to 100, then 50, then 20 before you finally pulled the plug. Are you kind of seeing that trend with your weddings this year, like too
Well,
frequently?
right now we're at a wait and see approach.
Mhm.
Okay, so the way we're treating it right now is we're at wait and see because we just don't know. It's too much of the unknown. The one that was in Italy, that was a smart call, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
going to be
Yes,
northern
definitely.
Italy, and we all decided, hey, listen, this is just too risky.
Mm-hmm.
Money losses, it didn't matter. I mean, at that point, it just
Mm-hmm.
was crazy. But in all fairness, vendors are also working on our behalf as well. So everyone's trying to, be in the same boat. Here, we're all just kind of, okay, what's next week? Like I just got an email from an April bride. What's April going to be like?
Yeah.
Hmm.
The way I think and I hope is that we're going to see the worst of it in March here in the States. Because, you figured China was what, January,
Yeah.
February, January. I think we're going to see the worst of it in March. Bad. I think it's going to hit. And then I think it's going to slowly diminish. I'm hoping
Uh-huh.
for April. So April should be good. And then I have my May clients who are asking, well, what's May going to be like? What's June? We don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
can't answer that because this is such an unknown thing. Now, if it follows as we're listening to the experts, and that's all we can do,
Yeah.
the path of the flu, when it gets warmer,
Exactly.
it gets, it gets, because they're saying in the lower 48 states and even in California, southern, you're not seeing as bad because you're warmer
Uh-huh.
temperatures, right? We're colder. So apparently it lasts longer and the colder temperature seems to be the general trend. I think that's why in Italy, you noticed it was northern Italy,
Uh-huh.
right? The cold, not southern. So I think it has something to do with temporal. So hopefully, as we all experience spring, we hope it'll just diminish.
Yeah, that's very crazy. And that was a good call for the Italy one to kind of like put that on stop mode because I hear it's pretty bad. Wasn't it like the worst over there so far?
It is because it is for sure. I mean, well, number one, it hit a northern town, a remote town, however it got there, I don't know, but it hit a northern remote town, and a lot of them are elderly. So
Uh-huh.
the elderly can't sustain this, and they die. So that's why you have to know, what their age group is. Like the one in Washington State, that's another hot spot.
Mm-hmm.
In Washington State, you have a lot of deaths from a nursing home. Well, yeah, it entered a nursing home. It's going to kill most of those people, or can.
That's
And then,
scary.
in here in New York, in the New Rochelle area, right now, that group, because it was a young guy who
Uh-huh.
got it, right?
Yeah.
So it hasn't killed anybody yet in that group. But with 4,000 people in quarantine who attended a bar mitzvah, that goes to show you what the spread of this disease can do in an environment such as an event, right? Bar mitzvah, wedding. I mean, case in point, look at our own president. They right. You have people in quarantine who attended an event last week
Mm-hmm.
for shaking hands because somebody had the virus there. Perfect case in point. You're at an event, all right, and then I just heard I think a few people in Connecticut had it from a medical conference they attended.
Jesus.
Again, conferences, things where people are close together. That's why Italy took that drastic measure to say, listen, shelter, do not go out. You can't even be near people.
Mm-hmm.
And if it continues at the rate that it is here in New York, in that area, I have a feeling they're going to say, don't go to work. Like right now, I think Facebook, New York is working from home. Twitter's working from home. Google's maybe working from home. There's many companies here now that have told people to work from home now, right
That's
now,
scary.
even as we speak.
That's
Yeah.
scary. So you guys are almost on like in New York. You're kind of going like China, like lockdown.
Not yet, but one by one, they are. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. One by one. Because they're going to say, why risk it?
Uh huh.
If they're trying to keep you off the subways, why risk? So then they're trying to keep with the subway, trying to keep you not to be together. And how can you have an event?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a moot point. You're just putting yourself back into that same cruise ship mentality, right? That, that virus infesting area, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, that's crazy, and that's just crazy to think about how crazy it is in New York right now. And speaking of, the postpones and anything, have you had any cancellations or anything like that for a
Not
wedding?
yet.
Not yet, thank
Not
God.
yet. Well, there's one right now that's we're on the fence.
Oh
We may move
no.
it. We may move it. We may move it. I don't think they're going to cancel permanently. What's happening is postponement. It's
Yeah,
not true cancellation.
That's
So I
good.
don't want to use that
Yeah.
word. We're
yeah.
just postponing. So right now we have one that's sitting on the fence right this very second. He's the one that can't travel.
Uh huh.
Right.
So we don't know when that travel ban is going to be lifted. In Italy, I heard they can leave the country or they can travel because I have friends who are living there.
Uh huh.
Italy can leave, I think, after April 1st.
Oh, okay.
They're giving it to April 1st.
Gnarly. So when it comes to like postponing, like from your perspective as a wedding planner, how does that affect the vendors and stuff? Like, do they all say like, oh well, there's a reschedule fee or
Well,
something like that?
that's a whole nother topic. Um,
In like brief
in that
summary.
case, it's a case by case basis. So we have to kind of work with each venue and
Hmm.
say, hey, listen, we have to try to mitigate the damages, right? That's our goal. What are our damages? What's going to be the hit, and how do we mitigate it? So will you work with us for a new date? That's what our hope is. That's what
Hmm.
they did in Italy for me. All deposits were applied to the new date that we put in place. We're hoping other venues will do the same. If the client decides, this is the other possibility, we're not
Yeah.
going to travel, and now we're going to take it local. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the damages are. I don't know because no insurance covers this. This is a force majeure. It's not an act of God, according to all the insurance companies.
Wow,
How a
that's
virus isn't
interesting.
an act of God is strange to me.
That's crazy because that is in most terms the act of God line. That
It's
we're not
not.
at fault. That's crazy. So it's like man made.
I guess so, in their minds,
Scary.
right?
Doesn't
So
seem
even
right.
you have the insurance companies that really. So the whole thing is just a hot mess.
Hmm.
So can you kind of go more into that? In the article, you mentioned wedding insurance a lot and the coronavirus. What's your experience on that so far?
Well, right now, nothing is covered with wedding insurance. Wedding insurance as good as it could be.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever executed wedding insurance is when a hurricane has hit, and we had to then postpone a wedding because the hurricane hit the area.
Oh, scary.
Um, but in this case, it doesn't cover anything. Doesn't cover it doesn't cover any of the losses of deposits. And then, what is the attritionable rate? What is that? Nothing's covered. So now it's just a matter of appealing to the senses of people, almost like the 9/11 mentality. I lived through 9/11 here.
Oh, that's
And
scary.
what happened there was we lost windows of the world on top of the World Trade Center, and we
Hmm.
knew we had so many brides booked. We were able to initiate an active plan to say anyone that had their wedding booked at Windows of the World, we will help you um, find another venue within the city, and they'll honor your contracts. Come to us for contract. Well, I helped over 100 people
Wow.
redo their weddings all throughout the city. So they had contracts for, say, windows, and then we were able to do weddings at the Plaza, the Pier, the Waldorf. Everybody stepped up to the plate to
That's
help.
so cool.
Mhm.
That's
So I'm
so cool.
hoping something like this will also fall into that category, because this is not something that any of us had foreseen.
Uh-huh. That's crazy.
How do you
Yeah.
predict this?
But speaking about insurance and something, should we as wedding vendors be kind of like, because it seems like as you mentioned, like wedding venues are kind of like, whatever. Like we don't really cover that. But as in for like, wedding vendors, I know we kind of like have that cancellation policy in our terms. But do we need any kind of coronavirus thing
Well,
in
I
there?
think now we do.
Oh, we do.
I think we should have something in there. I mean, but I also think that we have to act on the and err on the side of being humanitarians. So even though we may take a financial hit, or we say, listen, we'll keep your deposit, but we will apply it to your next date. That's, I think, what we should say. You know,
Definitely.
because you don't want to be like, oh, we're gonna keep your deposit. Good luck to you, because then
Yeah.
you're looking like, a shlomo. So
Yeah, we all want to work
you have
together
to
to make it
really
happen.
you
Mhm.
have to work together. Yeah, we do. Because there's a point in time when even we look at our contracts, and in our good conscience, we can't even hold them to it. If
Yeah.
something happened like that, you can't.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's actually a really good point, and I think I'm gonna probably put something in there in my terms, in my
Yeah,
contract.
really, really.
So like with all the fear and stuff in New York, like it hasn't been that crazy in California so far, but in New York, with your staff, have you experienced like anyone kind of afraid to work an event?
Yeah, but we have a lot of hand sanitizers. I foresaw this a month ago, so I had ordered so much hand sanitizer. It's not even funny. So
Yeah.
I'm stockpiled. So my staff
Smart.
has hand sanitizers with them at all times. So they're our emergency kit. We actually have it on our belts.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, just walking around
And
putting on hand sanitizers.
yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do. My own kids, my kids think I'm crazy, but every kid in my house has hand sanitizer. I'm like, I don't want you to come to this home unless you have a hand
You're
sanitizer.
like, you may be my kid, but if you don't have sanitizer, get out of here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Hand sanitizer right now is like gold.
It is.
Uh,
It is. And it is. It's crazy.
It's
And like I said, I foresaw this a month ago because I knew it was happening in Italy. So
mhm.
I knew that this was headed our way, because I
Uh-huh.
saw people in Italy weren't allowed in the supermarket one at a time because they didn't want to near
Whoa.
each other. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's real. It's real.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hearing it from like
Mhm.
your side of things and your perspective in New York, it kind of makes it into a reality because we're not really like that here yet.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
super
It's scary.
crazy.
I was
And
just talking to someone the other day. My client, he can't get toilet paper. There's no toilet paper.
that's happening here.
I know. I heard my friend in Santa Barbara. He texted me last night. He goes, I can't even get damn toilet paper. I'm like, would you like me to send you some? I have a bunch.
yeah, we should.
Like, yeah, I stocked up. But yeah, you can't even
That's
get
nice
that.
of
And
you.
it was like, why is there a run of weird things like
That is
water?
weird.
Well, we're not going to lose water.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your tap still works, right?
Mm-hmm. That's
The
super.
faucets work.
It's true. Yeah, that's crazy. It's so like that's gonna be now a party favor at weddings. It's like toilet paper, hand
Well,
sanitizer.
I said that. I already said that. We're putting hand sanitizers in welcome bags. Yeah.
That's smart.
Huh?
If they could find
Huh?
them now, the hand
If they
sanitizers.
could find. Well, when we were doing Zika, let's go to that now. I went through Zika. When Zika hit and we had weddings in Mexico, we were handing out bug spray all the time
Whoa.
because people were afraid of Zika. I mean, let me
Hmm.
tell you, I don't even know how to be honest with you, I don't know how, as an industry, a wedding, we even can handle all this.
I
I just
know.
like now that I talk about it, like, oh my God, I went through 9/11, swine flu, avian flu, Zika, and now this. Like, it's just way too much.
It is way
Way too
too
much.
much. And as
Yeah.
like yeah, and as like a wedding planner again, like from what you guys deal with, you kind of like deal with everything from a whole. You're kind of like keeping everyone level headed.
Trying. We're
Trying.
trying.
Best
We're
you can.
trying as best I can. I mean, I can't panic, but I also have to be the voice of reason,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, I
Yeah.
have to be the voice of reason because we were supposed to have an event industry an event party next week, and I was in charge of the event. And so some of the people are like, oh no, we're going ahead. We don't care. We're going to show you a night of front. I'm like, you people are crazy. Like, you people are literally crazy. And so it was me and just one other person, actually two other people, that were like, she's right. Like, why are we risking our lives to be in close proximities for what? To
Uh-huh.
have cocktails and network? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like there's a point where you just want to be safe and smart
Yeah,
and prudent,
I can
and you don't want to be reckless.
yeah, I completely agree. Speaking of, I like that you mentioned about the networking thing. Has there been like, have people kind of been like stopping those with the wedding vendors around your area?
No, some of them are going ahead, some aren't. Some don't care.
Yeah.
Truly, they're like, we don't care. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Others, I'm a little more cautious. If I'm involved in it, I'm more cautious. But
Yeah.
that's just me by nature. But it's funny. It seems to be the younger people like, hey, it doesn't matter. It's going to be fine. And the older ones like, I don't think so,
Yeah,
because I
that's
think there's more at risk. You know, what I mean, I have a whole
exactly.
family. I have kids. If I get sick, they all get sick. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a single person as a planner, a lot of planners are single, right? A
Hmm.
lot. So maybe it doesn't affect them as much.
Hmm.
It affects me. It affects me personally.
Hmm. Yeah, when you have more of a risk riding on you, like you said, with your kids and your family, yeah, that's a little more of it to think about. Definitely.
Exactly.
Hmm. That's so crazy. So, I mean, this is a lot of good information, and this is getting really juicy, and I like this. But before we continue, we're just gonna take a quick break.
Welcome back, guys. We're still here with JoAnn from Elegant Occasions. We've got lots of great info coming your way.
Hmm. That's right. So, JoAnn, in our area, like we've mentioned before, in the Central Coast, in our little small town in California, it doesn't seem to be as crazy, as I've heard around like your place in New York, but people are kind of panicking and raiding the water and the toilet paper and the, hand sanitizers, as we've mentioned, but being located right in between Los Angeles and San Francisco, a majority of our couples and their guests tend to come from those areas. So I kind of want to like paint a little picture of how I feel, and I don't want to make anyone panic, but this is all, just my own imagination here, how it could spread here. So, let's see here. So let's see. There might be some guests that kind of like show up to a wedding, say, here, and they don't even know that they have the virus. And as you
Mm.
probably know, symptoms don't show for like 36 hours after being infected. So that thing could spread as easy as we mentioned, just like a sneeze or a cough. So imagine that one person dancing in the reception area around all these people, takes a sneeze, boom, one infested dance party right there, not even knowing. And in a matter of seconds, that whole place is infected. Like you said, the buffet table, someone kind of coughs on it and everyone's just picking up food. So my question is, should we be wearing masks or like just biohazard gear as wedding vendors when we work a wedding?
Oh my God.
you know?
I, I I hope it doesn't get to that. I would just distance myself.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like I don't think I would ever do that. I would just keep my distance. You know what I mean? Like, they say 6 feet
Yeah.
is the is what they say. So I would just keep my distance. Like, if you're in a DJ booth or up with the band, stay there.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to go amongst the crowd. You know what I mean?
Uh
Like,
huh.
stay there. I wouldn't hand over my microphone to anybody,
Right.
That's super
and
crazy.
disinfect that microphone if you do.
Yeah, that's super.
Disinfect it. So
That's.
just take the precautions like somebody has a cold.
Mm-mm.
Would you hand over a cold, your mic, to somebody with a cold?
Yeah,
No.
no way.
So just disinfect. Just be aware. Just, you have to be more alert. You know what I mean? Like, before, you're just like, oh, I'm gonna press the button on an elevator. Well, maybe not.
Mm.
Maybe my elbow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean?
Wear some
So
gloves.
Yeah, so just be aware. Like even when I go food shopping, like I disinfect the cart as I'm
Mm-hmm.
touching it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's because they say the only way to get it is if you touch it, right? And then it goes to your mouth, right? You touch your
Yep.
face.
Yep.
Or somebody sneezes in your face, or
Oh,
something.
that'd be scary.
So that's what I mean. Distance yourself. Like you have to have 6 feet. Like when I was just at a wedding last week and I just kept my distance. Like I kept my distance peripherally from everybody. I did my job, but I wasn't on top of people either.
Yeah, that's scary. And that's like you mentioned with the food thing, which kind of is mind blowing. Is like they say, disinfect your carts and whatever. But like when you still pick up your food product, you put it in your cart, then you take it home, it could still be living on that surface on your products, even after you take off your gloves, and then it can kind of like spread around the house. That's kind of scary.
It is. I let things sit for a while. You know what I mean?
Uh huh.
I let things sit for a while. Just now, I don't take things out right away
Mm-hmm.
because I just don't. And then I disinfect my hands the minute
Yeah.
I'm done touching it. Like you go to a restaurant, I now disinfect my hands when I touch a menu.
Yeah. Yeah. That's scary. I try not to even go out right now to restaurants and stuff because that's scary.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing, right?
That's super scary. And then like I was just as I'm kind of painted that picture, that's that's kind of mind blowing to think about. Like, do you think that the dance floor at a reception is kind of going to be like a high school prom where everyone's just sitting on both ends, not wanting to
I
get
don't
in?
know. I haven't seen that yet. I don't know if that's going to happen. It could.
That is crazy.
Um,
I hope it doesn't.
I really don't know. But I don't recommend like any like hand holding dances.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, no, we're not going to go down there. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen that way because some people don't care and are
Mm-hmm.
just like, it's going to be fine. It is what it is. We live life. Other people a little more cautious. So I think you're going to see the cautious people on the side, and then the people who don't care in the middle. That's just going to be a more of a parting of the ways there.
Yeah. And the DJs could be like, "Come on, coronavirus people that don't care, let's get this party started."
Right. That's exactly it. And there are going to be those people that are going to be there. You know it.
That's crazy. So, like, would you say that people in the wedding industry are more likely to get this virus because we deal with a lot of people that are traveling?
Oh man, I hope not. I think if you're cautious, no.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're cautious, no. If you wash your hands, you're diligent about it, I think you're okay.
That's good. Yeah, that's kind of that. That's one
You know what
kind
I
of
mean? I,
yeah.
I mean, I think you're okay. You go to meetings, wash your hands.
Mm-hmm.
You wash your hands, wash your hands. That's all you can say because it's the only way to stop a cold.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have to do the exact same thing.
That's crazy to think about. And that's just one thing that just caught my attention is that everyone that travels and like I mentioned too because I don't know if you heard. Did you hear about that cruise ship that's now going to be
Oh yeah,
docked off in
oh
San
yeah,
Francisco?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
yeah, they're laying all those people off that were kind of test positive for this thing. I mean, yeah, that's what I heard, and they're even docked in Oakland and San Francisco, and a lot of our clients come from San Francisco, so I'm just kind of like, yeah, like,
Oh, okay.
what's gonna happen here? It's just gonna spread here. That's
Well,
when,
it's gonna. Well, sadly, you're in warmer weather.
yeah,
Or luckily you're in warmer weather, so you should not be as bad. They say Florida has cases, but it's not as bad. It's that cold weather they're
mm-hmm,
saying. And I guess if you look at the count across the U.S. and you look at the counts, it seems to be kind of what they're saying. It's warm weather doesn't cause it to live; it
mm-hmm.
kills it.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, like you mentioned in New York, you know, so in New York it's pretty calm. It's not crazy. People are people still like raiding toilet paper and water and stuff over there as
Oh
well?
yeah, oh yeah,
They
oh yeah,
are.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh
if they
yeah,
can find it.
If they
constantly.
could find it,
If
yeah.
you can find it, if you can find, you can't find hand sanitizer.
Yeah, hand sanitizer's
Um,
gone.
Yeah, it's gone. You can't even find that. So yeah, you just have to. Lines are so long. You're seeing more and more people with masks in subways, masks on the streets, more than you've ever. Well, you've never seen it before. So
That's
that's
crazy.
so that's nuts.
Do you think that the
Um,
masks are like, because now I've been seeing things where people are saying
I
like,
don't
don't wear
know.
mask or wear mask or like, if you're infected with a mask, like,
If
I
it
don't know.
gives you a peace of mind, wear it.
Yeah, I agree.
If it does, what I mean, if it gives you a peace of mind, wear it. I mean, I'm telling you, in New York City, I've never seen it in my life, and now all of a sudden you walk down the street, there's people with masks everywhere.
I
Now
can
you can't catch
imagine.
it. You can't catch it outside because the air,
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah.
circulates.
Uh huh.
So it's only if you're in close proximity and people are shaking your hands, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's how you catch it. That's how you catch it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's something I've never seen before. I personally wouldn't even take the subway,
Yeah.
and I personally will not take the train into the city. I drive now. I wouldn't even
Dang.
take the train.
I heard New York's tough to drive in.
I don't care. I'd rather do that. I'd rather risk my life driving than actually be with this thing. I really
Yeah,
would. I'm like, it's fine.
I agree.
You know, I'd
Mhm.
rather because I have
Smart.
more control.
Mhm.
It's a more contained environment. Because if the train stops, I'm stuck.
That's scary.
I don't want to be stuck with these people. I don't want to be stuck with these people. It's like the cruise ship, right? You're
Yeah.
stuck. I mean, that's not the most pleasant place to be.
That's not at all.
I've been on cruises in quarantine, like I said. So I'm gonna tell you, it is not a. It's a very unnerving feeling when you cannot get off a cruise ship. You're like, okay. Now, I was always smart. I always had balcony rooms, so I had
Mhm.
air.
Yeah.
But think of the people that have internal rooms or under the boat
They're just
rooms.
going crazy.
They're going crazy.
They're
Yeah,
going
they're
crazy.
going crazy.
The subways haven't been shut down completely.
Not yet. I don't go in them.
You think they
So,
will be?
you know, I don't know. I think it all depends on how bad this gets.
That's
How bad this gets. I think it how bad it gets. If it gets really bad, at this point in time, there's so much unknown that I can't even answer some of those
yeah.
questions. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
just like a wait and see approach, and let's see what happens next. It's almost like it's an unfolding, developing story that just doesn't change. You know what I mean? It's just a
Mhm.
constant. Ugh, for me, it's just a constant bone of contention. Like it's just so upsetting. It's upsetting because my children. It's upsetting. I worry about them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I worry about my clients. I worry about your business. I worry about your friends. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, this is my parents. I have
Mhm.
my father who is immune compromised. This would kill him.
Jeez.
There's, oh yeah, this would kill him. Oh, he wouldn't survive this. There's no way. There's no way. He had a kidney transplant, so
Wow.
he's on medication already that compromises his immune system. Right? That's
Mhm.
what it does. So this would ultimately take my father's life.
That's scary.
So yeah, and you look at that, you're like, okay, well, this is just not a good thing.
Yeah.
This is just not a good thing. Um, so that's the problem. I think the
Mhm.
problem is that it is an unknown situation that we're in that all of us are trying to navigate and figure out what is the right thing to do. How do we protect ourselves and how do we protect our businesses in the process?
Right. And
Right?
speaking of which, I noticed that you have offices in New York, LA, and Rome, right?
Rome is shut down.
yeah, I
Um,
bet that is.
I was curious about that.
Rome is shut down. My people in LA are still working. I have an office now. I have a partner in Morocco.
Oh wow.
And he was just saying, that business is so far okay there, but we're seeing people are just postponing their trips, their travel trips. So we're just seeing postponements, and that's what it should be.
That's
You know,
crazy. Yeah.
err on the side of caution. Don't cancel. Just move it. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? For us financially, it just moves us back a little more. But we've been down this road before, all of us.
So like
We've
yeah, I mean I was just that when Jay brought up your offices, sorry, I just wanted to know like have you noticed a difference between either one? Like has one had more of an impact?
Oh yeah, LA is like nothing's going on.
yeah, I
New
bet.
York, New York is panicked.
Oh jeez.
DC is panicked. Yeah, yeah. It depends on where you are. It depends on where you are. Where you are.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, Rome is as you mentioned is just locked down.
Locked down. No one can go to work. I mean, we can. Luckily, a lot of us can. Well, and planner wise, you guys can't. We can work remotely.
Yep.
Wherever you have a computer, we can work.
Mhm.
Right? We can work anywhere in the world. You can't. You have to be on site. I'm
Yeah.
very curious to see so many people that are still like traveling, but some people just are very good at like not worrying about things.
Yeah.
They are. Like I said, I'm just a little more cautious than most.
That's crazy. Yeah, and like you said, like LA, yeah, it's pretty. I mean, I hear that's a little bit over there, but not as crazy as it sounds like in New York. So that's a good sign. Well, at least for us,
Yeah,
definitely. So like, well,
exactly.
hmm so what's your overall opinion about the public's reaction of the coronavirus? Like, do you think we're just taking it too far, or people are just panicking because of media, or should we
I
be taking
think
precautions?
I think we should be careful, like we were with the flu. Just think of this as a really, really, really bad flu. Okay. So we should be careful, but should we be buying toilet paper and water? Probably not. I mean, that's kind of crazy.
That's
I
pretty
think
crazy.
that media definitely is freaking us out,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. I think it's caused panic. Mass hysteria is happening in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not happening with you. But here we're getting hourly updates on deaths. I mean, what is that?
Jesus.
How does that make you feel? Like, how does that make you feel? Like, oh, another death has
It's going
occurred.
to be The
Great.
Walking Dead in New
That's
York.
great. Right. That's how it feels. So, and that's what. But when you speak to people in Italy and what had happened, and how many deaths they've endured,
Mm-hmm.
it's not something we should take too lightly either,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you look at China had to build what, 4 hospitals.
Yeah.
um, that's scary. I
Super
mean,
scary.
we have to really be aware and just monitor it. We have to be smart. We have to be responsible. We have to be smart. And we have to defer to our clients. If they're fearful, we can't diminish it and say, oh, you're crazy. No. We have to say, how do you feel about this and how would you like to proceed? Because ultimately, we don't want to be the ones to push them into something and then we're in a situation that we help them make that decision.
Mm-hmm. That's
You don't
super
want to do
crazy.
that. Yeah, because you become legally responsible for that. If you put someone in harm's way, you're legal. Just like, hey, it's going to be fine. I can guarantee it. You can't guarantee anything.
That's and now that that's a good idea. As you mentioned, like you're responsible for that. Do you feel like as a wedding planner that if one of your brides like saying, "Hey, JoAnn, do you think we're safe to continue with our wedding from your opinion?" And if you say, "Yeah, go ahead," and then they get it and they're just like,
No,
"Hey,
I'm not. I'm not even going there. Nope.
Right.
yeah,
I'm not going there. I'm just like, what do you feel? Go with your gut. That's what I
yeah,
say to
just
my
put it on
clients.
them." Yeah, like this.
Go with your gut because I'm not going to make that decision. Because if something happened, God forbid, I don't want to be sued for it.
Exactly. That's where I was going. Yeah. So you.
And you can definitely be sued for it if you push a point. Like, I look at these conferences that are proceeding, which is so interesting to watch because right now I think special event is taking place in Vegas.
Uh-huh.
Cater Source and special event are taking place simultaneously, and they're still going ahead with 4 or 5,000 people. Now, I pray nothing happens, right? I pray. But
Jeez.
what if somebody gets it? Who's responsible for that?
Mm-hmm.
I just heard that I believe they're going to postpone Coachella.
Yep.
I just saw that, or they're thinking of it.
Yep.
Um, so they're being responsible. I think we have to be responsible people.
I
We,
completely agree.
I know you want to salvage your business, and I get it. That's what everyone's saying. Oh, our business. You know what? People's lives are way more important than your business, honey.
Yep.
Sorry,
That's
Definitely.
true. I completely agree.
sorry.
Completely agree.
You know what I mean? You'll make more money down the road. You don't need all the money right now. That's how I look at it.
I feel
Like,
like
I'd
yeah, that's
rather
crazy.
save
I feel
them.
like the wedding industry, like for your the brides or not the brides, the planners, you, it's like it rides on you guys. That's kind of hard because like you guys are the shot callers.
We are. We are.
Like not only for the
Yep.
couple but for the vendors.
We are. We're for everybody. We're for everybody. Yep.
Yeah, that's insane because like if yeah, I just agree when you were saying like just leave it up to the couple because you don't want everything coming towards you like the couple coming at you vendors saying, "Hey, what the heck, the wedding was postponed or canceled. I'm already booked on the day they chose to postpone it to."
I know it's a mess. It's
Hmm.
a mess. But I really have to protect everybody here. I'm not only protecting my clients. I got to think of my vendors and the people
Yeah.
and me.
Yep.
I don't want to put myself in harm's way. You know what I mean? Either.
Uh-huh.
So, I just have to be, like I said, if you're going to proceed, then you better have a lot of hand sanitizers and just have a plan in place where, you're protecting the guests somehow. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
As far as with your staffing, we can't protect the people that are coming because we don't know what they're doing. Are they sick? Are they not sick? We can't, take responsibility for
And
guests,
that's scary.
but we can take responsibility for our vendors,
Hmm.
and say, if anyone's sick, please don't travel. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just, that's what we have to do.
I think that's what they brides and couples should put on their website, their wedding websites. Like, if you're sick, if you have even a sniffle, stay
Don't
home,
come.
don't come. That's scary. And I was curious too. Like, I know this is we're not rental companies, but do you think they should be like? I'm pretty sure they're like sanitizing their equipment before bringing it out too.
Yeah, I'm seeing notices from caterers that they're doing everything they can in their kitchens to sanitize. I'm getting notifications.
That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah, yeah. So they're sanitizing things, but then again, they have to re-sanitize it, right? Because people touch it, you have to
Exactly.
re-sanitize it once they touch it. So,
Just
but I
constantly.
I recommended that you staff, like serving staff, wear gloves, like white gloves, and then they change them, because it can look cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm glad to hear that their rental companies and caterers are, starting to sanitize more and be a little bit more cautious about that after every event.
Yeah, exactly.
So with keeping the balance of like protecting your clients, protecting your vendors, and recommending postponements when it's necessary, do you feel like we should be worried at all about the wedding industry in the short run?
Oh God, I think it's going to be a short-term disaster. We'll recover like we always do.
Oh yeah.
There's always weddings taking place. I think it's a short-term window of kind of a crisis area, but we'll come out of it. We always do, guys. We always do. I just talked about everything I've already gone through in my industry, in my career. We get through it. There's going to be a tough time. On the economic front, Europe, I don't know how they're going to recover because we've shut down a country.
I know, that's scary.
Right? So I don't know what they're going to do. I don't. I mean, I'm sure people are going to rally around them. And, I just saw that Italy just gave a standing order that people don't have to pay their mortgages for the next month.
Yeah, that's what I was to ask. Like, how do people pay their bills and stuff if they can't go to work?
They've just, it's a catch-22, right? They're saying that you should have a safety supply yourself for a month.
Wow.
And I kind of agree with that. You should have a month's living expenses so you can pay your bills, so you're not living paycheck to paycheck, but everybody's is that lucky. So I don't know what the fallout is. It's just, this is so unknown. I can only look at it and just watch and go, what the heck? I don't know. And just pray that everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's super scary. And I actually heard that they were saying even in the U.S. that we should be expecting the same thing, as in shutdowns.
Same magnitude. Yes.
That's terrifying.
Well, we're seeing it. We're starting to see it. I mean, you saw the free fall in the market yesterday.
Yeah.
It was a free fall. They had to stop the market. They had to literally stop the market when when it started to happen. So
that's scary.
Yeah.
It's just like wrapping my mind and hearing you say all this. It's kind of frightening.
I know. I don't mean to frighten you.
No,
I just think we just have to be careful, guys.
It gives us a taste of the potential possibility here.
Exactly.
So like considering possible quarantines, like people grabbing toilet papers and whatnot, just like self-quarantining themselves. Here's a crazy question, and it's kind of out of the box. Do you think virtual reality weddings is going to become a thing? No one's going to want to leave their house. Everyone's going to put on like a virtual headset.
No. I think virtual meetings, yes. I think more and more companies are going to go virtual. I mean, right now, Zoom and all those platforms are using those platforms to be able to, to have meetings. That's, I don't know. I think no, I don't think it's ever going to do that at all.
Yeah.
Okay. I think what'll happen though is that maybe some corporate conferences may go more virtual. I just do. And that's okay. But I don't, like FaceTime and stuff, but that's okay. But I don't think weddings are ever going to take that effect. People still have to interact with their loved ones. I don't think that's going to happen.
Do you think like there's gonna be more elopements happening instead of big giant weddings, because elopements, it's just so personal, like two people.
I don't know if they're going to do that. I still think people want to get married. I don't think it's going to affect that, because it's a celebration anyway we look at it, guys.
Yeah.
And we also can't let fear. It's going to go away. I mean, it's going to go away. It's here. It's going to go. Okay, because it has to, right? That's what happens. And China has already recovered, or they're recovering right now. They've already, I think, shut down 4 hospitals that they built.
Oh, well, that's good. I didn't even hear that. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. They already shut down 4 hospitals. So it's going to go away. I think it's short term. It's a short term thing. Scary, yes. Recoverable, yes. Yes. There's always a solution, guys, to a problem. It's never doomsday. If it's doomsday, if it's the end, then it's the end as we know it. It's not happening, right? You got to look at it that way.
That's crazy, and I'm glad no virtual reality weddings are gonna come around. At least we
No,
hope not.
Yeah.
thank God.
That'd be funny. That's crazy.
So we've gotten a lot of really good tips from you throughout this whole conversation, but just taking a step back, what would you recommend for wedding vendors to do to prepare for this?
I think you just have to be prepared for people to move their dates. Do not hold on to those deposits if they cancel. I think you should refund. I think that's the right thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
I think we have to be humanitarian in our thoughts. And I just think you just have to, you know, be aware and monitor the situation constantly.
That's crazy. And I saw in the article too that you mentioned like you recommend that brides like don't order from like don't order their dresses, but just get them off the rack.
Yeah, for now, because what's happening is things aren't coming in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things aren't being shipped in. And so if you do have, weddings that I tell people now, I'm giving people more of a lead time to order their gowns, telling them, instead of, I'm telling double it,
Yeah.
double it. So I've just, right now, right? Because I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know if their factory is up and running. That I don't know. I don't have a handle on that. But I think we just have to be aware, be cautious, and, just be proactive. And as a planner, my job is to always anticipate the problems before they arise.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good planner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Someone says to me, what makes you a good planner? I said, we all plan well. But what makes me a good planner is I'm always anticipating the problem before it arises and already have a solution before they can even give me the problem at hand.
Yep. You expect the
That's
unexpected.
That's great.
that's exactly it. That's the secret. And I
Yeah.
think every vendor has to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely,
Just
especially right now.
be prepared, especially right now. Just be
Especially right
prepared.
now.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
And
a good point.
if we all do this together, we can get through this. We're going to get through it.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
It's just, I think that's the secret.
Definitely. So like, yeah, wedding vendors that are listening, we will get through this. Don't freak out. We got this. Go for it.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, along that lines, from a planner's perspective, we're always in close contacts with our couples throughout the whole planning process, like you said. And oftentimes we're like their therapists. So, for any couples with weddings on the horizon, what's your overall takeaway and your advice to them when it comes to the coronavirus?
Don't lose sight of why you're getting married, right? This is just a party. It's a celebration.
Mm-hmm.
If it's postponed or delayed, that's okay. It's not doesn't mean that you're not going to marry the person that you love the most.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to not lose sight of what the purpose of this wedding is. It's the union of two people who love each other. So
Mm-hmm.
don't lose sight of why you're getting married. It may just be a bump in the road, but you know what? Life is full of bumps in the road.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, okay, it's a learning experience. This is, just a little bump. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Just don't panic. Just have another plan in place. Like I know with all my couples, I am already starting my B plan for everybody. Everybody has a B plan. Like what if?
Great.
What if? So that's my best advice I can give you.
Yeah, I like that. Right now, everyone, wedding vendors, couples need a B plan. You need
Yep.
a plan B. Our plan B right now is if it rains, have a plan B. So far, no coronavirus plan B. But guys, we
Good to
need to
think
have.
about.
Yeah, that's a good thing to think about to have a plan B. Do you think that couples are hurting at all with the wedding with the coronavirus going around at all? Besides, like not just postponing, but maybe financially.
It all depends on how much they've invested in the stock market,
Mm-hmm.
because we're seeing the stock market crash. I think you're seeing a financial hit if their stocks are being affected. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. I think they are. I think not all,
Not all.
but I think
It's
some.
just
I
anyone
think
that's
some.
invested in stocks.
It's
Yeah.
anyone's invested. Yeah, I think anyone's invested is feeling it, and they're seeing their, any of their portfolios being diminished by quite a lot. So I think that has a lot to do with some of the anxiety that these people are feeling.
That's so cool. Hey, JoAnn, all the information you provided for us has been amazing. I know the wedding vendors here in the Central Coast are going to love everything you have to say. I know we did, right?
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. So, hey, JoAnn, before we go, can you give our listeners just like, some ideas where they could reach you at, like social media, website, anything?
Oh yeah, they could follow me on my Instagram account at JoAnn Gregoli. Um, my website is www.elegantoccasionsbyjoanngregoli.com. And my Twitter is JoAnn Gregoli. So you can follow me. Facebook is Elegant Occasions by JoAnn Gregoli if you want to follow us on Facebook. But you'll see a bunch of articles that are coming out. I'm actually going to be on the evening news soon
Awesome.
with more of this story. So we'll post it, and our links will be up on our sites and up on our Facebook accounts and stuff.
Awesome. And I'll definitely link down everything you said into our description notes below in this episode. And also the New York Times article that I read, I'll also place that in there so people could read that. And again,
and there's a brides article that just hit too. So I can probably send you that link to brides if you want. Another article that just hit. There's like 3 articles that just hit because the AP Press has picked it up. So
oh wow,
it's
Awesome.
it's kind of spreading like wildfire.
Yeah, this is a hot topic.
Definitely.
Hot topic right now.
Yeah, definitely. Email me that, and I'll definitely put that into the links. A lot of people would appreciate it.
Perfect.
Yeah, and so like whenever when this coronavirus kind of like drops down a little bit, and Jade and I make our way to New York, we'll definitely come say hi and give you a visit. That would be awesome.
I would love that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. And JoAnn, thank you again for being a part of our show. We really appreciate it. And I just hope you stay safe in New York as this goes on.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem. You have a good day.
You too.
Man, that was a great episode.
Yeah, it was.
JoAnn was so nice and such an awesome guest.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we gained a lot of helpful tips and information from her perspective about the virus.
Yeah, it was super eye-opening to see how the coronavirus is already affecting the industry in other parts of the world.
Definitely eye-opening.
Yeah, so everybody please take extra precautions during your weddings because it spreads super fast.
Way too fast, like a sneeze.
As she mentioned, always have a plan B and expect the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
And try to keep a humanitarian approach if it does come down to postponements.
Definitely.
Inevitably, we're all here for our couples and we'll work together to make their weddings the best day ever, no matter what.
I couldn't have said it any better, Jade. It's all about keeping our couples safe, keeping your wedding vendors team safe, keep your mama safe. On that note, wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Have your hand sanitizer on you at all times. Try to keep your distance from anyone that has a sniffle. And most importantly, guys, have a great wedding season. Till then, we'll catch you on episode 3.